Ready your horses and sharpen your swords. This is our review of Paladins of the West Kingdom.
Paladins of the West Kingdom is a worker placement card drafting game where your goal is to get the most victory points by building up your kingdom and defending your homeland.
Each player starts off with a player board and their own set of Paladin cards.
There's also a communal main board and other cards that all players will have the ability to obtain.
The game is played over 7 rounds, and at the start of each round, players will choose which Paladin they're going to use, as well as which workers they're going to use that round.
Players place their workers on different actions in order to build up their kingdom.
Some of the actions include developing or fortifying their kingdom, commissioning monks, or attacking and converting outsiders.
Players earn points as they increase their faith, strength, and influence tracks.
Players can also earn points by accomplishing king's orders and converting outsiders.
Each round ends when all the players run out of their workers or pass their turn.
After 7 rounds, the player with the most victory points wins. Paladins is the second game in the West Kingdom Trilogy. I loved Architects of the West Kingdom, and I think everybody else in my group was a big fan of that one as well. So we were excited to get this to our table and see what it had to offer. And the look of everything is just as fantastic. The artwork is great. The meeples and all of the little pieces that you use are amazing as well. The only real drawback in any of the components is the money, which is still cardboard, just like in all the other games. I know you can buy the upgrades, but still it would be nicer if it came with a little bit nicer than cardboard money.
So just like Architects, there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of different pieces. You got your provisions, your meeples, your taxes, your suspicion cards. So a lot to keep track of, and there are similarities if you played Architects, but there's also a lot of new things too. Like there's monks and the outsiders that you can recruit or slay or kill or whatnot. But all in all, it all pulls together very nicely.
The mechanics of this game are a lot different from Architects of the West Kingdom. So if you've ever played that game, it won't be super intuitive. The mechanics of this game can be a little bit overwhelming. It is a heavier game. It's not for young kids probably because it is a little bit complicated. It's a worker placement, but how you place your workers, when you place your workers, which workers you get, how you can use fewer workers if you do other things, and how you chain build and engine build and do all that, it can get very complicated so that by round 7, if you haven't built it up or you haven't done a whole lot of things, the game may be like, oh, it's so overwhelming.
One thing I will point out, just like Architects 2, is there's a lot of symbols. So at the very beginning, if there's no reference card, you're going to be doing a lot of, what's that mean again? What does that do? This means this, right? I'm doing this right?
I like that there's a player board where you can perform all of your actions to do everything that you need to do. And there's a communal board where you can take other actions that are public and it's kind of first come, first serve. But that's not so important that if you don't do that or you don't do it on time, you're going to feel like you can't win the game or someone took what you needed to win or all of those kind of things. So you can still perform your strategy without necessarily having the communal board determine what's going to happen. I really enjoyed the number of options you have without it feeling overwhelming. So you don't get that analysis paralysis while playing this, but you still feel like you have so much that you can do that it's just about choosing the right strategy.
One mechanic that I'm starting to appreciate more is the hiring workers or drafting your certain worker colors, where you can play one here and maybe get a bonus or play another one there. Because at the start of your turn, if you don't plan it out right, and I mean like this one here, there's 4 of them. So if you get it wrong, if you forget about a color or that you couldn't do something, then you're like, all right, what do I do now? How do I fix this? I won't make that mistake next time though.
I also like that in each game you'll have different king's orders, which is how you can get some bonus points at the end. So that'll help make the game a little bit different here and there because you'll always be trying to accomplish different things depending on which game you're playing. It's not all about increasing your strength, influence, and faith on your track. You can also get points elsewhere. This game does take a long time to play. We were playing a 4-player game and it was well over 3 hours, and it can take a long time to play. Even a 2-player game will probably take a while because there's so much that you're thinking about and so much that you're doing in each round, going over 7 rounds. And I don't think it's necessarily for younger kids because there is a lot of strategy involved. There's nothing violent or offensive to it. It's just so much thinking. It is a pretty heavy Euro-style solitaire almost game. There is some player interaction with the communal board, but for the most part, you're doing your thing while someone else does their thing and you're hoping you get the most points.
Overall, I'm going to give Paladins of the West Kingdom 8. I think I gave Architects an 8, so I'll give this an 8 too. They're similar, but different. The artwork and everything's great. You know, a lot of different cards with a lot of different artwork on it with the Outsiders and the Paladins. I love all the pieces, you know, keeping track of all these things. It's very eye-catching, and I don't know, it's just really fun to play. I don't know what else to say about it.
Overall, I'm going to give the game an 8 as well. I really enjoy everything about this game. I like Architects a little bit more just because I like the worker placement style in that game. However, I like this game a lot too, and they're both different, but in the same universe. So they're both great on their own level. So an 8.
And Teresa gives it a 10.
And Juliana gives it a 6. And that was our review of Paladins of the West Kingdom.
What'd you think? Are you ready to raise your banners and build the best kingdom? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you're enjoying our content, please like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Until next time, I'm Lee.
And I'm Kenny.